Hello, everybody. We are the Cave Trolls, and today we're going to be talking about the new X-Men trailer, X-Men Apocalypse. Well, what's everybody think?
Well,
Well, thank you for all that. That was very, very, very.
I see. My
enticing.
opinion doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, it doesn't. Right?
There's so much excitement, we just can't say anything yet.
I mean, this is the first one where I'm not as excited. You guys have seen our other Reacts videos, and I'm pumped in every single one. I'm excited for it, but this didn't blow me away by any means.
I mean, out of all the X-Men trailers that I've watched, like for all the other movies, this has gotten me more excited than any of the other ones have.
Right. What about X-Men Origins, that trailer?
I mean,
Now that movie or that trailer?
I remember the trailer being kind of silly. I remember Wolverine lighting a fire just by sparking some stuff up with his claws.
Yeah, I remember drifting on the motorcycle with his claws, and
I guess the excitement was different because it was a totally different X-Men
Tone? Yeah, it's going for a different tone. I get what you're saying.
because it was a whole different dynamic. It was just Wolverine with his crew.
Right. Well, let's start out with the ones that are specific to this one. So Apocalypse obviously is in this story. Apocalypse always has his horsemen. We got to see a look at all of the horsemen. We got to see a brief shot of Psylocke, just to zoom in on Olivia Munn's face. I'm excited to see her in action. They didn't show any of that action in the trailer, which is probably a good thing. She's probably going to be a standout effects-wise, I think, with their psionic blade. Are you excited to see her in this? And this is going to be the first time we see Psylocke live action, so...
I mean, just because it's Olivia Munn, I'm excited to see
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna say I'm excited to see
She's the
Olivia Munn, no matter where she's at, what she's in.
I rewatched Newsroom last week just because she was in it. But also, Newsroom's an amazing show. But the other Horseman, Magneto, who we've seen 1,000 times.
Yep.
Do you think he's joining the team on his own free will, or?
I'm kind of back and forth on my thoughts about that. I think he's fighting it in a way.
Okay.
And I think that Apocalypse is trying to bring him in, but for some reason he can kind of
Control?
have a little bit of control, but he's fighting it.
Right. It's
Maybe he's trying to fight it from within.
I think the problem is at the beginning of the story, Michael Fassbender's Magneto is up in the woods, Dexter style, being a mountain man, and I think he kind of lost his way because at the end of Futures Past, he kind of realized he was the bad guy. He was the ill intent, and he needed direction. So he's out there looking for it. And though he kind of became a good guy again at the end there, I think Apocalypse makes some good points to him. Fighting for mutant kind, which is what Magneto's always been about. So I can see him joining of his own free will, but realizing that Apocalypse has differing methods. Like, Apocalypse is out to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Even the mutants, which Magneto was always against. He's always against killing the other mutants, but Apocalypse is killing anybody who's too weak to survive. That's his thing. He's survival of the fittest. He's lived for thousands of years on that principle. So I can see where he's going to join of his own volition and maybe fight it, and maybe even break away. But you also see later on in the trailer that maybe Apocalypse can control people.
Mm-hmm.
So even if Magneto wants to leave, he can't. What about the other ones? Do you think Storm and Archangel has joined?
I don't really know because the only Archangel that I know of is the Horseman Archangel.
Right. Well, I mean, Angel on his own.
Yeah.
You see, but you've never read those stories.
No, not really.
Well,
I actually never read much of X-Men. The most knowledge I got from it is the '90s cartoon and some video games.
Well, I'll just pause the video. We'll replace you real quick.
Okay.
We got Hugh Jackman over here.
Right. Now that would be a special guest.
Yes.
I think we still wouldn't get any viewers.
It's not really Hugh Jackman. We're just going to put some sideburns on Dave.
I think you'd look good with some sideburns.
I could.
We should
mutton
petition you
chops.
to be the next Wolverine. What do you think?
Ooh, I could dig it.
Yeah.
Bub.
So Dave has bone claws?
Dave has bone claws.
Why do you think I'm so bony?
Oh, I see what you did there. But no, Wolverine was one of the horsemen.
He was Horseman of War, I believe.
And I think that was the second story of Apocalypse. I'm not 100% sure. Put it in the comments. Correct me. Now, he's going to make a cameo in this movie. We know for sure. They reshot scenes where he shows up.
Maybe he's the fifth Horseman. Maybe he's the horses.
Maybe he replaces Fassbender's horseman when he leaves.
Oh.
Maybe. Maybe the horsemen completely turn against Apocalypse at some point.
Yeah, you don't know.
I think maybe Storm was convinced to join because she was persecuted in her home country. At first, she was treated like a god, and I think they turned on her. I think that's going to be the story here. So
maybe they time travel to X3, get that Rogue. She becomes a horseman and
not Rogue,
punches-
Storm.
No,
Storm.
no, Rogue.
No.
Rogue. The one that doesn't want to be a mutant. They force her to be a horseman, and she punches Apocalypse in the face. End of movie.
Is Anna Paquin in this movie at all? I don't
Have
think
no
there's
clue.
time travel. She's a good actress. I don't like her Rogue, so I'm kind of glad that she's not in this. I don't think. I think there's going to be more to the Horsemen. I like the line about how the Bible might have got
yeah,
the Horsemen from them.
I always love that kind of thing where it's like this thing in history is like, well, it's actually from this thing.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's going to be cool.
Okay, I also humor me on this because I don't know who that character was that was next to Xavier when he was talking to that girl.
She was from the first First Class movie.
Yeah, but the guy standing next to him.
Oh, you're talking about like Apocalypse?
No, because it was
So lost. What are you talking about?
there were two guys talking this the scene about the Bible thing.
Havoc.
That's Havoc.
Okay, I couldn't remember
Blonde
who that
hair.
was.
His hair is longer in this than it was in the other ones, I believe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
it's
he
very
looks
80s.
a little bit different. So
Yeah. So other new characters that are showing up: Nightcrawler.
yes.
Sweet. I always love Nightcrawler.
Oh, Nightcrawler's the shit. I think they might change his origin here since they're clearly in America for a lot of the film.
He's an alien.
He was wearing a Michael Jackson coat at one point. So,
Ancient aliens.
do you think Mystique's still going to be his mother?
I mean, I hope for it.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's possible. Like,
'Cause they didn't hint towards it at all. In fact, they were probably close to the same age in the original. Then again, she didn't age, so who knows what they did with that. But I believe that he wasn't supposed to be her son in that. I hope that they do make it that way since he's the perfect age for it.
yeah.
Since 10 years have passed and he's clearly young, he could be, her and Azazel's kid before Azazel was killed.
I
other
love
thing
love
is-
the way this young Nightcrawler looks.
Yeah, you think
Yeah.
it fits?
Like you mentioned, he had that jacket on. Everybody else is kind of having their X-Men uniforms. And
Right.
Like, I mean, it could be an earlier scene.
I
But,
believe it is. I think they're all hanging out at the mall.
okay, yeah.
But I think he might be part of that, though. I think he might be part of the youngins because he was there with them.
Right.
Or looking for them. Maybe,
Yeah.
looking for, the X Mansion. He's heard stories, which could be a cool story. I mean, not exactly where he comes from, but he still has the tattoos
Right.
in this world. So, maybe he still was, circus performer and a religious zealot. Who knows? What else do we have here today? Jean Grey and her nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a simple.
Lots of real quick flashes of scenes there.
Yeah, a little scene where it's clearly Jean tapping into her telepathic powers. Except she's in the mansion, so she's clearly already a student. But when she wakes up, Xavier's just there in her room. Is that creepy or not? Is that
In a way, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Depends on how the scene actually plays out when we go to see the movie.
right? It's just in the comics, there's a really bad subplot where Xavier's been in love with Jean since he recruited her.
Yeah.
Which I mean, she's much older.
Yeah.
So it's not as creepy,
Right.
But it's just that's what brought to mind when they showed that.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, for me, I was thinking either he's just kind of going around, either specifically checking on her or just checking on all the mutants at night.
Of course, and
or-
I'm sure he didn't come in until she screamed
Right,
after the
yeah.
nightmare.
Yeah,
but that's what.
And,
that
and
was.
I
also,
was gonna
they're
say.
both telepaths. So you could have easily sensed the mental distress.
I think so.
Yeah.
And we were discussing that as well. I think that's what happened.
Mhm.
But it always brings that to mind that creepy subplot.
He's just in her room. She's in her bed.
Yeah, exactly. Just being creepy.
Just
there.
watching her.
They show Beast. He is blue at some points, but he's also not at some points.
Yes,
Do you think he's still using that serum from Days of Future Past?
I think so.
Also, obviously, Xavier's not using that serum.
Yeah.
He's clearly in
In
his
his
wheelchair.
wheelchair.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a scene where he is walking too. It's not really like super clear, and it might not be him.
Right.
But
You think it might have been him?
He could be just visualizing it too.
couldn't he just mentally control his legs and like telepathically walk?
He that's telekinetic.
Oh,
He has
right.
telepathic powers, not telekinetic powers.
Using the wrong
Right. He could telepathically control a telekinetic person, and they could control his legs for him. But I feel like that'd be a whole mental, circus thing. Yeah, it's that's a lot to deal with. So you go ahead and go back and play with your crayons,
Okay.
and
You can write that story, Dave.
I'm gonna make an airplane.
The other thing with that serum is Jennifer Lawrence was not in Mystique costume, makeup. At the end of Futures Past, they hinted that maybe she had, come to accept a little bit more of trying to fit into society.
Shed away her mutant heritage. I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, she's not as I don't know, feeling as an outcast. Mutants are probably not accepted in this world, but they're not being hunted the same way.
Yeah. One thing I was gonna point out that I noticed, you see Xavier rolling into the CIA.
Right.
So
right.
they probably called him in because of what's
Right.
going on.
I think they're a little bit more accepted now that people know they exist.
Right, and then there's like a higher power out there that they
Maybe is
wanna
governing them.
come together to
unite under.
Mhm.
I think it's more along with the comic books now, where everyone knew mutants exist. They were just persecuted instead of people fearing what they didn't know. Now they know about them, so they're
And
still
they
going to
don't like it.
Exactly. There still might be people like that, but they're still going to be able to exist. They're not
Mhm.
going to be hunted down necessarily right now with the Sentinels out of commission after days. So I think it's going to be a little bit more along those lines with Jennifer Lawrence's character, Mystique. She's going to be out in the open, maybe more okay with looking human, not going to feel so persecuted if she were to transform. She's clearly coming back as a leadership role.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see her transform once or twice. I know that some behind the scenes stuff show that she really did not like the makeup and what it took for her to do that. So who knows? I'm a little bit torn on that. If they just show her transforming, I'm fine. It's just in the comics, she just wears a uniform anyways.
Yeah.
She just could just do blue face and red hair and
Yep.
done. Maybe we'll see that. I'm excited to see. Maybe we'll see that kind of outfit.
yeah.
A clothed.
I mean, we saw it a
Mystique.
little bit in Days of Future Past and in a lot in First Class because she was
Mhm.
wearing just the X-Men uniform.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll kind of see, the genesis of the white leotard and
That'd be cool.
the dual pistols. that would be really cool to kind
Yeah.
of see that. Also, I wonder what she's been doing because she's clearly not a teacher at the academy.
She's just living in society, maybe just kind of doing her thing.
Do you think maybe she's working with the CIA?
maybe?
Like, maybe we get some of that secret agentness of Mystique.
Yeah.
Who knows? This is all conjecture. We have nothing to base this on except for a short trailer.
It is
Except
all
the fact that
fact.
we already saw the movie.
Yeah, because we have that kind of clout.
I have it on Blu-ray.
What'd you think of the young mutants that are returning? We talked about a little bit about Jean. We also saw Scott and Storm.
Mhm.
What do you think about seeing them young? I love Storm's mohawk.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah,
fucking
That
sweet.
actually looks really sweet.
Scott looks the same as he did in Origins. It's a different actor,
Mhm.
but still young, just wearing the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Where do you think he got the sunglasses?
From the other actor.
I think in this, I think he's a student. They don't show him there with Jean, but I think he's a student there. You have a theory that when the scene, minor spoilers if we're right on this, by the way, that the scene where Lawrence's Mystique is telling him to lose control and shoot his lasers, do you think his brother just died? Do you have anything to back that up? I'm calling you out right now on the screen.
I mean, in the trailer,
Mhm.
from what we see, it seems like he might not want to use his powers because
Mhm.
obviously he has no control over them.
Right. He's afraid of
Uh,
hurting other people.
Yeah.
Right.
So I feel like he might be kind of holding back throughout most of or at least half of the movie.
Right.
And then the thing that actually gets him to use his powers is potentially his brother gets killed.
So he lets go, kind
He
of
lets
thing.
go, like he emotionally he's just
See, the only reason why I disagree, it's not that that's not a good idea. I think that would
Right.
look good thematically, is that Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique is what's telling him to let go. So I think that scene might still happen at some
Right.
point, but I don't think it's there. I think that's her going, hey, we're at war. You need to use your powers whether you're afraid of hurting people or not.
Yeah,
right.
I think he's probably started using his powers like a little bit before then, but is still holding back.
Yes, and then the brother dies. I still think that might happen,
Right.
Because it's not that I don't like the Havoc character. He's not the strongest, but it's not like I dislike him or anything like that.
Right.
Great actor. I just think that there's not a lot of room thematically and effects wise for two dudes who shoot lasers.
there's
Yeah.
not a whole lot. Yeah, there's not a whole lot. I mean, there is a lot of backstory, but for him to be a major character,
Yeah, for both of
Going
them. Yeah,
forward.
yeah. It doesn't really make sense for that.
Mhm.
In the comics, Havoc showed up later. He was part of the Brotherhood, and he was Scott's younger brother.
and he was a side character throughout.
Yeah,
Most everything.
exactly. In First Class, he was a main character.
Yeah.
But Days, he only showed up a little bit. So I can see where, like I said, it just might not make sense for both of them to go forward. And maybe he doesn't die. Hopefully he doesn't, because I hope this is the precipice for the Brotherhood to kind of join together.
Yeah.
Because even though the timeline changed, Michael Fassbender less evil. Magneto's kind of changed his ways with this apocalypse thing being the new I don't know, ignition, to
Yeah.
fuel that fire again.
Mhm.
I could see, because it's going to make everyone hate mutants, because there's a giant mutant killing everything. So whatever goodwill they earned from normal humans from Days of Future Past is going to be gone after Apocalypse. Whether they stop the apocalypse or not doesn't matter. I hope that we see some future glimpses of like the war-torn world that Apocalypse did destroy.
Yeah, Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah, do you think we're going to see anything like that?
I think so. I mean, I don't know if they like.
Because this one's not called Age of Apocalypse.
No.
Yeah, it's just Apocalypse.
I've called it Age of Apocalypse multiple times just because it just rolls.
Well,
off
it just rolls off the
when you
tongue.
say.
So do you think that we're going to see any future glimpses, like maybe Jean, like seeing the future? And
Yeah, I think so. It makes sense with them putting her character in there.
that might be the cameo for Wolverine, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah, without his hand.
Without his hand. Oh, that'd be so cool. I love that Wolverine. That is such a cool thing. Only Apocalypse and Mr. Sinister could take off Wolverine's hand.
Just think about all the videos on YouTube they would get with Nicolas Cage.
I lost my hand. If you don't know what we're talking about, go see the movie Moonstruck. Amazing film. Cher, Nicolas Cage. Phenomenal.
I give Terry a lot of grief for liking Nicolas Cage. I don't mind him. I think he's good in a lot of movies. Most of his recent stuff I don't like. There's a few things, but I have seen Moonstruck, and I do like Moonstruck.
He loses his hand in a horrible bread making accident. How did we get from X-Men Apocalypse to Moonstruck?
Nicolas Cage is the next Wolverine.
Nicolas Cage is Wolverine.
I'm in the camp for Tom Hardy, but my pitch.
Oh, I
I think Tom Hardy's cool, but he might be a little too old, similar to how Hugh Jackman was.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best out of Left Wing, and I've talked to you about this before. Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh my God! I
yes.
have not even thought about that.
Daniel Radcliffe. You put some mutton chops on him, a little bit more muscle because he's short.
Yeah.
And Wolverine is short. That's the thing. I think Daniel Radcliffe would be an awesome Wolverine.
I would love that.
Because Wolverine was always kind of strange because he doesn't age. And he doesn't look quite as old as they make him appear in the movies. Like, he looks a little bit younger than that, but he looks strange. That's where he gets the Wolverine name, because he's smaller.
Yeah.
And he's got the hair growing.
And
he's more
he's
feral.
usually in like a squat pose.
Exactly.
And like,
he's down low.
I just want to point out that his Hunchback performance in Victor Frankenstein was the best part of that.
It was on
fucking
point,
movie.
right?
I still want to see that.
I still haven't seen that either. But Daniel Radcliffe's an amazing actor.
Oh, I agree.
And I think that would let him do more character stuff. I think
Yeah.
he would be perfect for
Yeah,
it.
the movie itself, not that good, but those two together, amazing.
It's funny because I feel like a lot of people, like, they think Daniel Radcliffe, they think Harry Potter. I mean,
Right, of
I've kind of
course.
shed that thought with.
I've seen him in enough things now.
in
yeah.
a lot of other things, and they're not huge major things that he's been in.
No,
Um,
but he's still
But
done a lot.
He does a great job, and like he picks those roles, so he does a great job.
Exactly. He kind of reminds me of a more active Elijah Wood.
That's what I was thinking.
Because Elijah Wood just picks whatever stuff he wants to do, so he's always having fun.
And
He
then
might
he
not
just
be
DJs.
exactly. Whereas I think Daniel Radcliffe, he's got the chops, and we haven't seen him do more character stuff.
Yeah.
And it'd reunite James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe
Oh yeah.
if they come back for another one.
Yeah. My other thought, or my other vote, is for Clint Eastwood as Old Man Logan.
Ooh, but he's really old.
That's true.
Hugh Jackman could just do Old Man Logan at this
Yeah.
point. What about Clint Eastwood's son? Is it Kevin Eastwood? Is that his son's name?
I have no idea.
I've seen some pictures of just him smoking a cigar, and he
But-
looks kind of badass. But again, he's a little bit older too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's my pitch is Daniel Radcliffe. Back to Apocalypse.
Harry Potter.
This wouldn't be Cave Trolls without a crazy aside like that. The only other things I do want to talk about is they mention X-Men. They actually say the words
yeah.
X-Men, which I don't think we've seen too much since the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
The very first X-Men movie where the kids call them X-Men. This was,
Like them referring to themselves.
excuse me, yeah, I think it was a Beast that said it.
I don't remember.
The world needs the X-Men.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was Beast. Also, Quicksilver, we saw a glimpse of his scene in this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously he's going to have more than one scene because he's going to be a main player.
Yeah. Well,
You think he's joining the team, right?
Yeah, I think he's joining the team. I think he's also in that little pit scene that looks like they might be
being held captive. Oh, where Scott's like laying down.
It looks like Scott,
or Fel.
Jean, and
Who was
Quicksilver,
it?
it
Was it
looks like.
Quicksilver? Okay.
yeah.
See, you brought up name drops.
Yeah.
So we're like some kind of Suicide Squad?
Oh my god. not even close to the same universe. not even a little bit. Don't even get me started on that.
But yeah.
So do you think Quicksilver's joining the X-Men? That's
I
what
think
you're saying?
so. It looked like he had a suit on, like
Kind of like how they had in Days of Future Past, right?
Yeah.
Like how they all had those suits. You think he was wearing? I think he was wearing something like that too.
Something.
I would love to see the yellow and blue come back though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would just be real fun.
Right.
But yeah, I love Evan Peters as Quicksilver.
He was awesome.
was
His
so good.
character is hilarious. Him as an actor is hilarious.
Who's the guy who played him in Age of Ultron? Guy who played Kick-Ass. I can't think of his name right now.
I can't think of his name.
Put him in the
either.
comments so I know because I'm not going to Google it. But I liked his portrayal too. A lot of people hated their accent. I thought it was perfectly legitimate for a country that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it was great.
It fit pretty well with what Sokovia
But
would
Evan
sound
Peters
like.
was perfect for the X-Men universe.
Yes.
I thought he did a really good job
I
of
think
portraying
so,
that
too.
character. Do you think they're going to play up him being Magneto's son? Since they kind of joked about it in the first or Days of Future Past.
See, I
Potentially.
really hope so.
I hope they do something with it, especially with Fassbender going to the dark side. And do you think maybe that gets Evan Peters to kind of join the Brotherhood before coming back? Because Quicksilver was a bad guy for a long, long time before becoming a good guy. So I guess not a long, long time, but for several issues of the Avengers, they fought him. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think it would be cool to see that tie together with
Right.
both those characters.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of how to word this. Do you think he would portray a good, bad Quicksilver? Because he's so jovial. Like he was the fun part of that film. Do you think?
I
he could
think
be
what would
evil?
happen is he would be a reluctant villain. Like he would find out that Magneto is his dad.
They
Then
just want that allegiance.
then Magneto would start doing bad stuff, and he'd be like, "Well, I want to get to know this guy. I'll hang around him and do what he wants,
No,
but I'm
yeah.
also gonna not be an asshole."
That's what him and Scarlet Witch did originally. Is they were reluctant to do all the evil, but they were part of the Brotherhood. So
I mean, in a way, it seems like he would do more of like a Deadpool type thing. He's kind of like
an anti-hero almost. Speaking of Deadpool, so I mentioned the blue and yellow suits.
yes,
Those appeared in First Class, and then in the trailers for Deadpool, you see Negasonic Teenage Warhead wearing that costume, and Colossus is wearing the red and yellow, but still very similar. From what we saw, we haven't seen anybody wearing the blue and yellow in this. Do you think they're kind of splitting off the world here? Do you think Deadpool's going to be part of that universe, or just kind of tangentially? Like he makes jokes about it, but you never see him cross over.
it depends. I mean, I think with the information we have now, it makes more sense. But we've talked about a little bit the possibility of there still being like Stryker and everything.
Right, and how at the
How
end
they-
of Days of Future Past, Mystique saves him, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Stryker doesn't get his hands on Wolverine, at least not at the same point in time anymore.
Yes.
So does he still get adamantium? Does Weapon X still happen? Deadpool never gets his genes. Deadpool doesn't become a thing.
Right.
No Sabretooth, no Lady Deathstrike.
Vibranium claws.
I can't use vibranium, but at least you're here. At least you're trying.
Oh, I know they can't use it. I know it's absurd, but I throw it out there anyway.
I love you guys. But so what do you think? What's your theory there with Stryker?
I mean, maybe he gets a hold of Deadpool, does something with him
Instead?
'Cause- Yeah.
But I mean, but Deadpool doesn't have any of the mutant stuff. He becomes that way from all the genes from Wolverine.
right. I don't know.
There's something there. There's something. I can see you digging. I got you.
I mean, I haven't obviously fleshed it all the way
right,
out.
right. But I see what you're saying. Like something still has to happen there. But part of Deadpool's charm is that he comes from such a serious character.
Yes.
The original part of his powers comes from Wolverine.
Yeah.
At least the healing factor.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's proven that his is probably stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So to have Deadpool without Wolverine is strange.
I was thinking about this. What if instead the Weapon X program, they get Sabretooth, put adamantium on him, and he has adamantium fingernails.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
And that's where they get the healing factor for Deadpool.
Right, because Sabretooth is natural, and you find out they are related. So
Yeah.
that could be a thing.
It'd be a cool twist.
It would be a cool twist. It'd be the cinematic universe going farther and farther away from the comics. But if it's done well, I don't mind.
Right. And I usually don't mind. I mean, a lot of times I'll have a problem with it, and then I might change my mind later just because like it works sometimes.
Right.
It's honestly their own comic book in a sense, their own
Yeah.
story to be written.
Right. And like you were saying before, just because Stryker didn't get his hands on Wolverine right then doesn't mean that at some point he didn't.
Right.
It just seemed like Wolverine was better off in the future at the end of Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
But we didn't see his hands. It's not like
No.
it's not like for sure he just had bone claws. We don't know.
Right. Like it's Stryker still could have gotten a hold of him.
Right.
We
Right.
don't know.
I mean that's pretty much all I really wanted to talk about with this. Closing notes, Wolverine, we mentioned that he might show up at the end there. Do you think they're doing another movie after this? I know Bryan Singer has talked about, or was rumored to do another X-Men movie. If it's not Age of Apocalypse, like we that conjecture we were saying, what do you think it is?
Well, Hugh Jackman has said that he does want to do an Old Man Logan movie.
Right, but that might be part of Wolverine 3 because that's still
Yeah.
happening. No, but Bryan Singer is directing another X-Men movie.
Oh, okay.
Is the rumor?
Yeah.
So what do you think the next X-Men group movie is? Potentially tying in Deadpool, potentially tying in Old Man Logan.
Maybe
These new characters.
I honestly don't know because they've thrown me off completely with how they've picked these.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of
titles.
such a wild card.
Gambit is still
anymore.
happening. So I'm guessing it's going to be some sort of amalgam of all of those movies.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be. If they do an Age of Apocalypse movie, it'd be strange because not only is he appearing in this one, but you just casted all these new young actors, and they'd have to be older in that,
Yeah.
unless there's time travel again, which was good for Days of Future Past.
But
doing
to
two,
do it again?
yeah, exactly. I think
Yeah.
that might be a little jumping the shark.
If Marvel and Fox could make a deal for X-Men versus the Avengers,
I hate that story though. X-Men vs. Avengers.
but
I
they
really
could
like
do
that.
it better in the movies.
They could. That's a possibility. That very rarely happens.
Oh yeah, but
I could see it working though.
Yeah, you think so? I think if they ever did multiple universes, kind of like how Flash has done Earth 2, if they ever could bury the hatchet, I think what you're saying is neat.
And it would be hilarious too the way that they just kind of throw out those jokes about like the things that don't work out, that don't tie together between the two universes.
Right,
because
right.
There's obviously like differences.
But go back to my original question, guys. You're getting
Sorry.
off topic.
Sorry,
Next X-Men movie. What do you think it is?
I'm not going to answer that question.
I plead the fifth.
All right, I don't have any theories on it really yet. I haven't thought too much on it because I want to see Apocalypse first. Because if I'm not
Yes.
excited for it, I don't want more. I don't want
And
to think
honestly,
about
that could give us some sort of
idea for it.
little.
Obviously, yeah. Like a
I
jump
just-
start.
I want to see Kitty Pride.
Come back.
Yeah.
Like Kitty Pryde young or just Kitty Pryde?
Just Kitty Pride in general.
Ellen Page's Kitty Pryde. Do you think?
Sure.
I liked her as Kitty Pryde. I thought she was solid.
I just like Kitty Pride.
I'd love to see. Actually, the actor who plays Iceman was actually talking earlier in an interview. He said he'd love to play the character Gay because of how he is in the comics. I think that'd
Yeah.
be really cool.
That would be.
Because I never bought the romance between him and Rogue. I did
No.
buy him with Kitty Pryde though. So
Yeah.
maybe.
I don't know. I mean, with Rogue, we just hated Rogue.
Yeah, she just
Yeah.
wasn't Rogue. So I mean, if they could use her in the Marvel movies, just touch Captain Marvel, and, then,
Yes.
and you got Rogue.
Yep.
You got real Rogue. But anyways,
Like they wouldn't have to bring up Captain Marvel. Just like, well, the other person had power. I touched her, didn't know, and all of a sudden I'm fucking flying around.
yeah, flying super strength, anything like that. Well, let us know in the comments below. What do you think the next X-Men movie is going to be? What do you think this movie's going to be? Do you think it looks good? Do you think Apocalypse looks like Ivan Ooze? I don't.
Not anymore. Not since they showed the trailer after they.
Right.
From that
I think he
original
looks
picture.
good. I don't think he looks like Apocalypse from the comic books as much, but I don't think he needs to. This is a different thing.
He looks cool. He looks like he could be Apocalypse.
Right. Let us know what you think in the comments below. We are at Cave Trolls Cast on the Twitter. I'm at Resident Stevel.
I'm at David Tilgetsky.
At Extraordinary.
You had to think about that for a second. You need to tweet more if you don't know what your Twitter handle is.
Yeah.
And we're the Cave Trolls, and we're out. How was that, guys? You think that was good?
Yeah, I think it was good.
Mhm.
How much time do we got left, Dave? What time is it? It always ends up where I do that because we can't keep it going.
I think it went blank. It was at my screen timeout. It's just for some reason it was Bye.